Hello, sorry for any confusion caused. It is not Monday, it is Friday. I'm doing this now because I didn't do one for you earlier this week, and I won't be able to do it this coming Monday either. So I thought this was a kind of a nice in-betweeny bit. So what can I tell you? Well, I'm going to show you lots of things. Thanks to young Swedish Greta, I have very late in the day become incredibly anxious about the climate emergency. So I am trying to change my ways. And one of the ways that I am changing is that I have several water bottles now, but I got gifted one. I'll show you it. It is from Creme de la Mer, do you see? And it has a knob with my initials on it, so nobody else will drink my water because they'll see MK and they'll know it's mine. Then, now this was thrilling to me. I bought shampoo in a bar. I hadn't even known about such of a thing. And I looked, I couldn't find conditioner in a bar, but maybe that's coming. So, I don't know what I'll do. I suppose maybe I'll break off a bit, because you can't just, maybe you can just go with the whole. Sure, look it, I'll keep you posted. And then, I will show you something else lovely. Right, this I'm afraid is in plastic, but it's from Aveda, and it's the Damage Remedy Restructuring Conditioner, because above my extensions, my own hair is rotten, like the driest hair that you have ever encountered. But you see, now for travelling, I have little glass bottles, do you see? Little glass bottles, and one of them there, it says Marian, you know? So I will put my conditioner into this little glass bottle, and then everyone will know it is mine, and hopefully they will respect that. If they're my family, they won't. But if I'm with other people who are better brought up, then they will. So I had a lovely afternoon. I went over to see old Drummond, and we watched things on YouTube. She'd never seen, do you remember the man doing the interview for the BBC in Korea, and his daughter Marian comes in the yellow jumper? Sure, everyone has seen it, and she's coming with the walk, and she's carrying something that looks like a toothbrush, and then the little boy comes barreling in on his rolly thing, and then the poor mother comes in. We watched that many times, and she, to use her word, scorted with laughter every time. And there was something else we watched. There was another thing. Somebody called it Bernard Gogan. He does this thing, he's an Irish comedian. Look it up, it's called Polish Barman, and it's about a Polish barman who comes to Ireland, and in the beginning he's incredibly polite and speaking very kind of polite English in a very strong Polish accent, and then it does it 6 months later, and then he says things like, "Oh Jesus, 'tis yourself," and things like, "Oh Jesus, you're a guest man," and it's very, very enjoyable. So she made me play that many, many times too. So we had a lovely time, what can I tell you? I am at the copy editing stage of my book, which means, checking timelines, saying if I had like the same word 3 times in one sentence, I'd have to change them. Do you know what I mean? Just similar words that mean the same thing but aren't the same. And that is, I have to just check with himself, sort of tedious, isn't it? Is it? He's nodding. Yeah, but we're getting there, lads. We're getting there. I wrote my acknowledgements. The end is in sight. After this then comes the proofreading, that's kind of the worst bit, I think, for anyone who writes books, because you're looking at it and you think, oh my good Christ, this is actually going to go out in the world. This is that's the last stage. And, always with the proofreading, I hate it. I'm appalled by how talent-free I am, and I'm always on the verge of just ringing Louise, my publisher, and saying, "Look, can we just call it off? Could I just write a different book? Will you give me another 2.5 years, and I promise I'll write a really good one this time." And then it's all, and then it's done, And I was thinking about it, right? I did my best with this book. And I do my best with all my books. And the thing is, with anything, one's best is not a constant. Depending on how a person is, their mental health or their energy or their creative energy. I'm sorry, that sounds incredibly self-indulgent, but yeah, sometimes my best is better than other bests of mine, if you get me. And I did my best with this book, and I hope that it will become one of my good bests rather than one of my mediocre bests. But what can we do? Only do our best, even if the best is shit, you know. But I'm going to show you books. Speaking of good books, speaking of not shit books, right, Susie Steiner. I have had the great privilege of reading the proof of her new book, which is called Remain Silent. This is the third book in the Manon Bradshaw series. And Manon Bradshaw is a female detective, and she is just the most incredible creation, because she's a real woman. She's an ordinary middle-aged woman, and like, you know, she's horrified at kind of her middle-aged weight gain, and she writes about the awful exhaustion of young children and how you're with your partner and you're exhausted and it's all so hard, and the idea of being happy is just so kind of risible, but you keep on going. And I'm making it sound really depressing. It's not at all. It's absolutely lovely. It's very comforting, but then her plots are always very good as well. This one is incredible because it's about migrant workers. It's about illegal migrant workers from Lithuania working in Britain, and the description of their lives, it is eye-opening and horrifying, but it's still a great book, you know. Even, I mean, I was really glad to be educated, but it didn't make me want to stop reading and think, oh Christ, I'm not able for this. It's really great. Go and read the other two. So it's Susie Steiner. Read her first two, and then by the time you've read them, you'll be ready for this and you'll be thrilled. It's absolutely magnificent. Now, the other book I have is a young adult book, and it is called A Strange Kind of Brave. Forgive me for having to look. My memory has gone to the dogs. I'm presuming it's a menopause-y sort of a thing. I used to be fantastic at names, titles, locating kind of, what's the word, obscure words from the dark recesses of my brain, and I am no good at the minute. And another thing, and I'm digressing here, is I have become partial, and that's the wrong word, to prone, that's the word, to nighttime itchiness, which is awful and has kept me awake for the past 5 nights. And apparently that is the menopause as well. And seriously, like if the car tax on my car is out of date, that's also a symptom of the menopause. Like every feckin' bad thing seems to be a symptom of the menopause. If my head falls off, oh, that's the menopause. Oh yeah, you can expect your head to fall off most days. Oh, that's the menopause. You'll get used to it, you know. Yeah, my house burnt down. Menopause happened to me, happened to us all. The minute I turned 45, my house burnt down. Yeah, like, and all these new things keep happening to me, and people keep saying, menopause again. A martial coup in your country, menopause. The sun exploding, menopause. Tell me something terrible. No more Percy pigs. That's the menopause. They stopped making them. That's because of my menopause. Anyway, it's awful. Don't have the menopause. I mean, I'm on feckin' HRT. I'll need more. Now, this book is lovely. The one that I can't remember the title. It's called A Strange Kind of Brave. I did remember that. It's by Sarah Moore Fitzgerald. I remember that too. It's a young adult book, and it is so wise and warm and really interesting. Like, it's written about young teenagers, but it's not patronising, because I think young teenagers and tweenies are well, a lot of them are very smart. Some of the ones I know are, really sparky. It's about dealing with difference, especially if you are a 12-year-old, 13-year-old, how absolutely awful it is. And I just think everyone should read it. Like, I am 55 3/4, and I loved it. I'm not a young adult. I mean, most days I don't feel like an adult at all, but apparently I am. It is lovely, and there's a great twist I didn't see the twist coming. And it's just really enjoyable. And I would recommend it very highly, regardless of your age, even if you're not going through the menopause. It's August. Every fecker has gone on their holidays. It's hilarious. All my holidays are over, which I'm very pleased about. And I love being at home. I'm so happy to be at home. Anyway, I can't be going on planes anymore because of the climate emergency. But I am going on the train to Clifton for the weekend to see Posh Kate, and I'm excited about that. I got my hair cut. I got my extensions cut. They were too long, so now they're lovely and long, but they fit with my dimensions. I'm too short for long hair. I might have romated a bit. That's because I'm going through the menopause. Did I mention that? I will be back to you on Monday week, unless the menopause has done something terrible. It will have done something terrible, something new and terrible. But if it doesn't interrupt my speaking and him filming us, then I will be back to you on Monday week. Adios, my amoebas. See you then. Thank you. Bye.